I wish you could just take all my money, I give you my bank accounts and all this so that you can manage my money on my behalf. This is something that a client has actually ever told me before. And maybe if you are always stressed about dealing with money and making financial decisions, it's something that you have also thought about. That's why today I'm talking about avoider tendencies. Hi, my name is Juliet Odhiambo, and I am a personal finance coach. I help individuals like you to have a healthy relationship with money. What is avoider personality when it comes to money? There are so many different types of money personalities, but I often talk about four main ones, and avoider personality is one of them. An avoider is somebody who does not want to engage on any areas around money, or you'd rather avoid. If you can avoid, you'd rather not, because you just have a general aversion to money matters. Even if you really know, you know your stuff, you have the information, you have some knowledge, but as far as you're concerned, it's just not something you want to participate in, and you don't want to engage in. Why this is problematic is because you'll find that you become one of those people who are always surprised by expenses and bills that have to be paid. You know, those guys are, oh wait, was that supposed to be paid today? I didn't even know. So what happens is that you pile up a lot of bills, a lot of expenses, because you're not conscious, you're not aware, you're not present. And by putting it off, you think it makes things a lot easier. The only problem is that it can increase your financial distress. And so when it comes to being an avoider, I want to talk about how it manifests. One of the things you'll find that you do is that you don't want to look at your bank balances, and you don't even M-Pesa. You don't want to look at your M-Pesa balance. You don't want to have that awareness that money has left, or even that money has come in. I was watching an Instagram reel the other day, and someone was saying how every time he makes an M-Pesa payment, he closes his eyes and he doesn't want to see what the balance is. That is typical avoider behavior. Number two, a common behavior for avoiders is that they ignore payments. You know you are supposed to pay something, but you ignore it until last minute. Have you ever been in a chama where people know that you're supposed to make a contribution every Sunday evening, and you know it's happening and you have the money, but you just keep waiting, you keep waiting until somebody sends a reminder, today's the deadline, and then that's when you're like, wait, I'm sending, you know, and you had the money all along. What is that urge to just keep putting aside any financial actions, any financial responsibility until it is at the very last minute? That is a typical avoider. Another behavior for avoiders is an over-reliance on other people. Over-reliance on them to make payments, to make financial decisions on your behalf, to make investments. You'd rather get an advisor, a coach, your brother, your husband, anybody else but you. And so you tend to delegate a lot. That's a typical avoider tendency. Anything that requires you to engage with money or think about money, you put it off as much as possible. Finally, a typical avoider behavior is the conversation. As much as is possible, you don't want to talk about it. I am a very big believer in healthy money conversations. For a long time, talking about money has been a huge taboo. What that has resulted in is a lot of financial illiteracy. So as much as is possible, within limits that you have set for yourself, I highly encourage talking about money, especially within the context that it must be discussed. If you're married, if you're in a family, money must be discussed. If it is not discussed, you find a lot of things that happened that actually affect how the entire family, or even you as an individual, engage with money. So, how can you help yourself? If all of these things sound very familiar to you, here are 4 things that you can do to move from somebody who does not like to talk about money or engage with money to somebody who embraces at least the responsibility of your own money. When I I'm working with an individual who has avoider tendency, I usually say, you know what, you're in the right place. Because the moment you start engaging a financial coach or an expert, a money expert, then you have no option but to look at your money all the time, all the time. And one of the things that can help you move from one habit to another, especially around money, is the repeated exercise of doing the same thing. So when I have to work with a client every single week for 3 months, by the time we are done, there's a better handle and a better awareness and a better ability, a stronger ability and a base to engage with their own financial decisions. So step number one is to actually just force yourself into a situation where you have to talk about it. You have to talk about money and you have to engage with money. Number two, educate yourself. Sometimes the reason that people feel like they don't want to engage with money is because you feel incompetent. You feel like you don't know what you're talking about and you can't engage. One of the best feedback I like to get from my clients is, now I can talk about money. I sit in spaces and I feel like I know what people are saying and I can contribute. Every time a client tells me that, I'm like, yes, because education empowers you. So any instance where you can empower yourself with information by reading, by engaging a financial coach, or by watching a video, an important video on a specific topic, what that does, it boosts your confidence to engage with your own money and even have conversations with people because you feel like you have something to say. Number three, take small steps. You don't have to move from I don't like talking about money to you're the best and the biggest investor in the country. You can take small steps towards becoming more familiar, first of all, with your own money. Just understand your own money. You can give yourself small steps that you can take. Maybe for number one, I can look at my M-Pesa balance, so that you every time you spend, pause, look at how much is remaining. Step number two, okay, let me start tracking my expenses. Move a bit step by step, so that it doesn't seem overwhelming. If you can break down your engagement with money to small steps, then you can finally get yourself to that place where you can fully engage in conversation and even investments for yourself. Finally, when you start doing these small steps, reward yourself. As you make successes here and there, give yourself a reward, pat yourself on the back, because that works also psychologically for you to encourage you to get even more awareness around your finances and do the things that you'd rather not do or you've been avoiding to do. This segment of the video is brought to you by the Tell Me Money Conversation cards by PesaSavvy. The cards were created to encourage healthy money conversations between couples, among friends, and in family settings. Get the couple edition or the friends edition and learn more about what the people you love think about these money topics. On today's episode or segment of Speak by the Card, I'm going to pick a card from these PesaSavvy Money Conversation cards. I'm trying to be as, what is it called? I don't want to see which card I'm picking. So the question is, what financial goal are you working on right now? What financial goal are you working on right now? I'm always working on a financial goal, to be quite honest. So at the moment I have 3 or 4, but the one I want to talk about is a goal that I have to attend this conference, industry conference that I've wanted to attend for such a long time, but the expenses around it are so huge, so I have to prepare myself financially. So that's an important goal for me, and it has taken several months to get to where I am. I'm not there yet, but I'm actively putting money aside so that I can participate in this conference, while at the same time also looking at different creative ways that I can fund the expenses related to this particular goal. That's my goal at the moment. What goal are you currently working on? Please let me know in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. On today's segment of Real Money, Real People, I want to share with you a help me email that I got. Actually, it's very closely connected to what we have talked about today. This is what it says. Last year, I received an unexpected bonus at work. I had every intention of using a portion of this to pay off a high interest credit card and then invest the rest into a pension fund. However, I kept postponing making a decision of how much to put here and how much to put there. As a result, months went by and I never managed to allocate the funds. It just kept sitting in this account. Instead, I kept pulling money from this account and spending on different expenses. Eventually, the credit card was never paid, and I never put any money into the pension. Looking back, I can't help but feel a sense of frustration and regret for not taking action when the opportunity presented itself. This incident made me realize that my habits are hindering my ability to make financial decisions, and it's time for a change. I'm reaching out to you because I believe your expertise can guide me in overcoming this challenge. As you can see, what we have just talked about is what we have today in today's letter or today's email. The idea that especially if you have huge amounts of money, huge bonuses, it can be overwhelming. Like, you don't know, am I making the right decision? Am I making the wrong decision? So it makes much more sense to just leave it there. You know, I don't have to decide. It's easier. It's less stressful. But what happens is that the moment you have opportunities where money is needed, you keep pulling, you keep pulling, you keep pulling. When it comes to things like bonuses, I tell people one of the ways you can help yourself is just have a plan. When we write financial goals with my clients, the thing I say is that these financial goals is for money you're expecting and money you're not expecting. So if a lump sum comes, and the first thing you should be asking yourself is not, where do I put this money? Because we have a financial plan, because you have a financial goal, it is automatic. This is good if you're an avoider, because you just have to spend adequate time, invest time at the beginning of your financial journey and decide, what do I want money to do for me? And then create a system where you don't always have to ask yourself. Any time where you have to ask yourself, what do I do with this money? You'll respond in two ways. Number one, you'll be like this person who just leaves it because you're too anxious, you can't make a decision. Or number two, you'll spend it on your most urgent need, which is also not good. So if you are similar, or you're in a similar situation like our friend here today, I highly recommend that you go through the different steps that I had suggested. But if it is linked especially to your bonus, or even as a good practice, make sure you're always working with a financial plan or a financial direction in the ways that you want money to serve you. Let me know in the comment section whether you have always, or you have ever experienced a situation where you got stuck, where you froze when it came to making financial decisions. Why do you think that happened to you? Can you connect it to any instances in your history that actually made it difficult for you to engage with money in a healthy way? Please share with me in the comment section. I want to close with this. When it comes to healing from bad money habits, it's really important that you show yourself some grace. Show yourself some grace, because how you got here did not happen overnight. Neither how you're going to correct it will it happen overnight. So once you identify that, I have a problem, I have this avoider tendencies, or I have this avoider personality, and then you identify one or two things that you can start doing to correct that. Start doing them and then give yourself time to grow and build that muscle. It takes time. So, and be encouraged, there's always light at the end of the tunnel, but be ready to put in the work that will get you at the end of that tunnel. Thank you so much for joining me today. See you in the next episode.